Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff with nothing but thin air below your feet. How would you feel? Probably terrified. Well, if you're anything like me, it turns out that some people thrive on this exact feeling. And for them, there is nothing more exciting than walking along narrow paths that cling to the side of a mountain or a sheer cliff. For these adrenaline junkies, the higher the altitude, the better. And they aren't afraid of heights. They just can't get enough of them. Now, we all have different limits when it comes to our love for adventure. But what is common among those who push their limits on these dangerous trails is the need to escape the ordinary. Some of the most famous hiking trails in the world are also among the most dangerous. Today, we will look at 6 world's most dangerous hiking trails. So buckle up. No, 6. The Kalalau Trail, Hawaii. First up is the Kalalau Trail in Hawaii, which stretches for 11 miles along the Nepal Coast State Wilderness Park. This trail, which can only be traveled on foot, has been described by many as the most beautiful trail in the world. The Kalalau Trail is not for the faint-hearted. Its terrain is so rough that even experienced hikers may find it challenging. The trail begins from Ke Beach in the northwest corner of Kauai and ends at Kalalau Beach. Along the way, it descends 3,000 feet to Hanakape Beach, then climbs back up to its starting point. It features some of the steepest drops on Earth, with sections known as the Stairway to Heaven and the Spine of the Nepal Coast. It takes an average of 3 days to complete the Kalalau Trail, which is mostly above sea level, making it one of the highest trails in the world. Permits are required to camp overnight on the trail and are limited in number each day to protect the environment. You'll probably have to wait several months before you can hike the Kalalau Trail because of how popular it is. In addition to requiring a permit, it's crucial to be aware of the weather forecast and to pack accordingly because rain can make the path incredibly slippery. Number 5. Mount Hua, Shan, China. Number 4. Mount Thor, Canada. Standing at almost 1,200 meters high, Mount Thor is the tallest vertical rock face in the world. As a result, it is unsurprisingly a paradise for rock climbers. Unfortunately, it is also an extremely dangerous place for anyone attempting to climb it. The first recorded attempt to scale the mountain was made in 1962, but it wasn't until 1970 that the British team led by John Long and Jim Furlong succeeded. They named the route the Man's Route, which ironically describes both the location and the climbing process. Since then, over 500 climbers have dared to climb this mountain, but many have lost their lives trying. According to National Geographic, the base of the mountain is constantly covered with bodies that were never recovered from the slopes. One reason for this is that even though the base of the mountain looks like a wall, there is actually a small crevice where climbers can squeeze through and reach the top. It's too small, however, for search and rescue operations to take place. The Canadian Armed Forces tried to recover the bodies of 2 climbers from the base of Mount Thor in 2008. Despite having squeezed through the crevice themselves, they were unable to bring the dead climbers to the surface. Today, the mountain remains a challenge for experienced mountaineers and one of the scariest places in the world for hiking. No. 3. Mount Everest Base Camp, Nepal. When it comes to height, few trails on Earth can compete with the Mount Everest Base Camp trek. Trekking to the Everest Base Camp is a serious undertaking that requires good physical health and acclimatization to the thinning air at high altitudes. It takes around 12 days to complete the entire journey, which covers 108 kilometers. The route starts at Lukla Airport, which can only be reached by a small plane. Then it leads through several Sherpa villages, such as Namche Bazaar, Tengbush, and Dingbush, before arriving at Gorak Shep and the Everest Base Camp. From Gorak Shep, you can also take a day trip to see the famous Everest Memorial and the nearby Khumbu Glacier. While the trek itself is physically demanding, the scenery is absolutely breathtaking. You will pass through rhododendron and pine forests, cross suspension bridges over deep valleys, and get stunning views of the Himalayas, including Everest itself. However, the trek is not without risk. Altitude sickness, avalanches, ice falls, and unpredictable weather conditions make trekking on Mount Everest a very dangerous activity. But despite the risks, thousands of people attempt to trek to the base camp every year. If you want to do it yourself, you should start training at least 6 months in advance. No. 2. The Inca Trail, Peru. If you've ever wanted to walk in the footsteps of the Incas, then the Inca Trail in Peru is the perfect hiking destination for you. Stretching 43 kilometers from the town of Cusco to the lost city of Machu Picchu, the Inca Trail is one of the most famous and popular hiking routes in the world. It takes about 4 days to complete the trail, which is dotted with ancient Inca ruins, caves, temples, and other archaeological sites. But the most impressive sight along the Inca Trail is, of course, Machu Picchu itself. Imagine hiking for days through the cloud forest, crossing high mountain passes and passing through lush valleys, until suddenly the lost city of the Incas unfolds before your eyes. The Inca Trail offers an unforgettable experience. Like many other hiking trails, however, it can be quite dangerous. The path can be very slippery and muddy in some places, and there are steep drops along the way. Plus, you'll need to carry all of your supplies with you, including food, water, and camping equipment. Still, it's an adventure that many people dream of. And if you're up for the challenge, you won't be disappointed. Number 1. Angel's Landing. USA Angel's Landing is a famous hiking trail in Zion National Park, Utah, USA. It's known for its steep cliffs and amazing views. Many people consider it one of the best hikes in the park. The trail is 5.4 kilometers long and takes about 3 hours to hike. The elevation gain is 450 meters. Most of the trail is pretty easy, but the last 1.6 kilometers is pretty difficult. This part includes a lot of steep switchbacks up a ridge. The trail is also very narrow in some parts, and there are steep drops on either side of the path. Because of all this, Angel's Landing can be a dangerous hike, especially if the weather is bad. Even so, it is still a very popular hike, and it is usually crowded. If you want to hike Angel's Landing, you should be prepared. Make sure you have proper hiking boots and bring plenty of water. Be careful on the trail and don't go if the weather is bad. Do you know any other dangerous hiking trails? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on our future videos. See you next time.